Alright guys, Paul here back. The sky is Alright guys, Paul here back. The sky is
stuff and closing, hassle it within 30 days. Tell me what you gonna do now, Docky. But you see the work. You see my work. The first ward say you see the work. We gonna what? Keep watching you, see what you go. What? Say something. That's what. And another thing, Miss Byrne, watch your back. We're walking behind you right now. Okay. And all right, I'll leave it all up to you, madam. Tanya Burns. Tanya, more power to you. Take that, America. Take that.
All right. Next public speaker, Madam Clerk.
The next speaker is Beverly Biggs-Levy. The next speaker is Arthur Woodson.
Good evening. I would be upset, man, but it's good that y'all stayed up there to go through this process just to move this couple of things along. I wouldn't vote for Cloud Road. They need your vote. I wouldn't vote for that. Just to move it along, had this council meeting, show that y'all trying, y'all are getting business done. I wouldn't vote for Cloud Road. I wouldn't vote for the debt elimination plan because they trying to bring us emergency manager in here. I wouldn't vote for, those are only two things. But let me address Liddell. Liddell, you lied. You said I was stalking you, going by your house.
Oh, no.
I need for you to file a police report on that for harassment because I keep my location on all the time. And I will show that I have not one time been by your house. But see, it's people next door to you and around you that don't like you. They're the ones putting that information out there that you got your driveway done and that you got a brand new fence since receiving $25,000 in ARPA funds. I don't know if you used it for that, but I mean, money started making people look different, and I think you really starting to use that money to really try to make yourself look different and fix up your house and everything, you know? Did you pay your water bill though? Because they wasn't supposed to turn your water on because it was a water bill there prior to you moving in. See, it's a lot of public information out there and there's a lot of people out there talking. So quit assuming, because when you assume, you make an ass out of you and me. You know what I'm saying? For real. I don't stalk people. One thing about it, if you look at my Facebook page, public documents have people's addresses. I black public documents out with addresses because I don't believe in protesting at people's houses. I don't believe in going by involving people's family in public political affairs. So don't be putting out false information about me harassing and stalking you and driving by your house, because it's a huge lie. I don't appreciate that. I don't mind you telling the truth. I don't mind you saying, you know, things that's the truth about me, but don't lie on me. I don't lie on you, because you are an incompetent, incapable, disingenuous council person who needs to step down, and I will be getting those signatures for you. Thank you.
Next speaker, Madam Clerk.
The last speaker for this speaker is Sandra Jobin.
Good evening. My name is Sandra Jobin. I'm not sure if you go by these pronoun things, you know, the crazy stuff you guys want to believe in, but I'm not sure if you had my correct pronoun when you used me, or if you were talking to me. So, Merced. But I just wanted to let you know that we haven't given up, and you guys could settle this seat thing real clearly if you took a special election and had someone seating in the 3rd Ward. And then we could get back to, you know, business as usual for Flint, which is pretty much a clown show, but it would at least help out. But unless you got something to hide, that is why you're not placing the 3rd person that won that election. I'm not sure exactly what you got to hide. Not accusing anybody of anything, but if there was an audit, I'm sure there would be a few people that would be in trouble. But Judy, you should know that Trump is coming back and he's ready to clean house, so hope you're ready.
All right, seeing that that was the last public speaker, do we have any council members that would like to respond for a council response? Seeing that we don't have none,
Excuse me, Madam Chair.
Oh, go ahead, Ms. Mashat.
Yeah, I just wanted to address something false that was just stated, because I want to make sure that residents of the city of Flint, those who live inside the city of Flint, have good information. What occurred, unfortunately, was that a colleague was recalled. That colleague then passed in the middle of that recall attempt. The state of Michigan said you cannot recall a deceased person, therefore there would be no election, and kicked it back down to the Flint City Council to appoint per the Flint City Council charter. The Flint City Council, you should not be speaking. This is not time for the public. This is council response.
Oh, so you can respond to that?
Ma'am.
As I was saying, the state of Michigan kicked it back down to the city of Flint to appoint per the Flint City Charter. And so the city council has a duty per the Flint City Charter to appoint someone. There was no election for the 3rd Ward that happened. Therefore, since there was no election and the charter states that the Flint City Council has to appoint, we have to follow the charter. If you take a look at our agenda for the Flint City Council for Flint residents, the Flint City Council is going to appoint or attempt to appoint someone for the 3rd Ward this evening. And then once the Flint City Council appoints a resident, appoints someone for the 3rd Ward, the residents of the city of Flint in the 3rd Ward will then elect their official. So I just want to make sure that residents in the city of Flint understand what's happening in the city of Flint. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
I would also ask that this audience member stop yelling out. She already has a warning. She comes to our meeting every week. She knows the rules. I would ask her to stop yelling out. She had a chance to speak during public speaking uninterrupted. It was now time for council response. I was speaking. She knows the rules to not yell out. She continues to yell out, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you so much, Councilwoman in the 7th Ward. Due to the fact that it is the duty of this body to bring audience members to order, this is your second warning. So, ma'am, you're being asked to leave this meeting.
Whoa!
You Flint people better understand what's going on. Because she don't.
All right, so I will be the last person to speak. I heard Mr. Woodson at the lectern, but one thing that, that we shall not do, we shall not create an unsafe place for me to come to work, for people to come to practice their democracy, and for me to live. And so if you're obsessed with the home improvements that I encourage every single resident to do, if you have a problem with that, I do apologize. However, it is not up to you. That is very stalkerific and stalker-ish for you to report everything that happens at my residence. So I think that might be a good idea for us to look at your locations, to look at where you be, because it is unfortunate that every meeting when you're not referring to me as derogatory names and when you're not being vulgar at the lectern, now you want to come in here with a stalkerific point of view. That is not what I'm here for, and hopefully that's not what you're here to do as well. So I do wish you better, and I would love to take you upon your offer of looking at your locations to see that. So thank you. So now that council response is over, we will go ahead and go to the reading of the legal opinion regarding council leadership. So, City Attorney, go ahead.
Pursuant to the vote taken by council this evening to waive attorney-client privilege on this document, it's a letter from the law firm of Clark Hill dated December 4, 2024. It's addressed to myself as acting city attorney. It's regarding city council, presiding officer. Dear Mr. Cups, did you want me to read it verbatim? Okay. Dear Mr. Cups, you have asked, given the failure of City Council to timely elect a president in accordance with the Flint City Charter and Council Rules of Procedure, who chairs 1, a regularly scheduled meeting of the City Council, 2, special City Council meetings, and 3, committee hearings, ? I have researched the Flint City Charter and Code of Ordinances, Flint City Council Rules of Procedure, and Robert's Rules of Order. Heading, Facts. Councilmember Liddell Lewis was elected president of the Flint City Council on November 13, 2023. Under City Charter, her term was for 1 year, expiring the second Monday in November 11, 2024, City Charter 3-203. Under the council rules, however, the president serves 1 year, or until a successor is elected. Council Rule of Procedure 3.1. Repeated rounds of voting have resulted in a tie vote, and City Council has therefore failed to elect a president. Next heading, Analysis. The prevailing rules of statutory construction apply to home rule charters. There is a footnote which I'm omitting. When the language of a home rule charter provision is unambiguous and specific, it is controlling. However, if a city charter provision is ambiguous, it must still be interpreted in a manner consistent with reason, with the goal of determining the purpose and intent of the framers and the public. Footnote 2, I'm also omitting. Second page begins here. The language of the charter is unambiguous. However, the charter does not address a situation where the City Council fails to appoint a president. The potential for the council to operate without a president is simply not contemplated. The City Council has not elected a president to succeed President Lewis. The council rules address such a possibility, with the president serving for 1 year or until a successor is elected. The rules are therefore supplemental to the charter and not in conflict with it. Ms. Lewis, under the council rules, therefore serves as president of the council and will continue to do so until a successor is elected. Number 1, heading, Regular Meetings of the City Council. The president shall preside at meetings of the council as chair. Council Rule 3.2. Number 2, heading, Special Meetings of the City Council. The mayor or any 2 members of the City Council may call a special meeting of the City Council upon 24 hours' notice to each City Council member and the public stating the purpose of the meeting. Charter 3-202. President Lewis serves as chair of special meetings under authority of Council Rule 3.2. Number 3, heading, Committee Hearings. The president shall appoint all committee chairs and vice chairs for a 1-year term, which shall end on the second Monday in November or until a successor is appointed. Council Rule 4.1. President Lewis is authorized to appoint all committee chairs and vice chairs. She can reappoint those already serving, or she can make new appointments. I am available to answer any questions you may have. Sincerely, Christopher M. Trebeelcock with Clark Hill.
Request for information.
Okay. So what is your request?
Through to the city attorney, so we can contact Clark Hill. I know we did not get that until, I believe, 3:26 p.m. at our last committee meeting. So is that for you to contact him, or can we contact him? Because I did ask you some questions, and I don't think you, because it's not your legal opinion.
Correct. It is not my legal opinion. It's Mr. Trebeelcock's. Any questions about his legal memorandum can be directed through me as acting city attorney.
Okay, and so we did not ever receive your written, because I did request for your written legal opinion. Did we ever get that in written form?
Not in written form. I would note that Mr. Trebeelcock's written opinion is substantively the same as the opinion that I have offered at multiple city council meetings.
Okay, I just wanted to be clear, because we did not get it. And I had requested that weeks ago. So I'm done, Madam Chair.
All right. So now we are moving on to the consent agenda.
Madam Chair,
Go ahead, Ms. Priestley.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
All right, has been made by the 4th Ward Councilwoman, supported by the 1st Ward Councilman. Roll call, Madam Clerk?
No.
Okay, with separations.
Oh, you know, I'm ready to roll. All right, any separations?
Madam Chair,
Go ahead.
I would like to separate the entire agenda, please.
All right, so full separation, no consent. So now we will move on to Resolution 458.
Madam Chair,
Go ahead, Ms. Priestley.
make a motion to approve 240458.
Support.
All right, motion been made by the 4th Ward, supported by the 2nd. Any discussion?
Madam Chair,
Go ahead, Ms.
the
Byrne.
U2 Rod McGaha, I don't know if he's back there in the red sweater. I believe this is your department. I know we've been told that this funding was time sensitive. Can you tell me I don't see Mr. Edwards back there. Can you speak to the time sensitivity of this project, and where does this, what parts of Flint does this affect? Because we've been hearing certain wards that it affects. Oh, I don't know your person with you.
That's the new accountant.
And so,
It's the new
okay,
accountant.
I'm not talking to you. I have the
That's
floor.
fine, I'm just.
Excuse me, let's have decorum, please. Go ahead, Mr. McGaha.
Yes, it's due over to the county by December 13th.
Okay, I'm sorry, could you hear that? Could you say that again? Because I'm sorry, my colleague in the 4th Ward was just calling someone such an ass, and I couldn't hear.
Genesee County, we have to turn in the resolution to Genesee County by December 13th.
By December 30th?
13th,
And
13th.
December- Okay, and so it is time
Yes, it
sensitive.
is.
And so the $2,603,201, what will this pave? What is this project about? And I'm sorry, what is your name, please?
Hi, I'm Joe Janeski. I'm the Transportation Accounting Coordinator.
Okay.
I'm trying to help on the TIP community, or the TIP resolution as well. We have a total of 10 projects submitted for this TIP project.
Can you take your microphone and like that way to you just a little bit? Okay, thank you.
Yes. Is that better? Perfect.
A little.
Okay.
That's better.
Perfect. So specifically, we have one project in Ward 8 that is tentatively approved. That is Van Slyke from Atherton to Hempville. And then we have East Hamilton Avenue, which is in Ward 5, and that is north to J.P. Cole, north city limit to J.P. Cole. So that's roughly about 1 mile total in length, and it will be roughly funding of about $5 million towards those roads.
And so when will these projects happen?
Somewhere roughly between 2028 and 2029.
Okay, so at that time, those areas will not be 5 and 8. Our ward boundaries change. Those-
Okay, well,
Yeah, I believe that's gonna be 3rd Ward and, what was it, Atherton?
Van Slyke.
Van
That
Slyke
may
and
be
Hamilton
9th
Avenue.
then, yeah. Because our ward boundaries change effective. Every 10 years, we have a census change because of our population. And so there will be a population shift. The population already shifted, the ward boundaries. So that may change. So those were probably different wards, not 5 and 8. In 2026, they will actually take effect, but they were already, I believe, uploaded prematurely is what we were told before, because we're kind of doing dual wards now. And so you said one will be about a mile stretch?
One is 0.4 miles, that's the one on Van Slyke, and that's a total reconstruction, which means that the entire road base will be reconstructed.
So it's not like the resurfacing that you put down and we get maybe 7 years?
Right, no, this will be a 10 to 30 year.
And so are we changing anything underneath, any of our infrastructure underneath it?
Yeah, the hope is always to contact the water department if these projects are approved to get water main as well reconstructed under it, if that is also due.
And so the water mains underneath that part, do we know how old they are?
No, we do not.
Have they ever been changed? Updated? Probably fixed.
Yeah,
Because
that
we
would
have
be
an
a
old-
question to the water department about the
Okay.
water pipes. I don't know. This money right here is just for the road only.
Okay, and so we always, when the road's torn up, if the water mains are any, underneath, to do it at that
Yes.
time, so you don't have to repave that road again, like Miller Road. Had those issues.
Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Anyone else in the
Madam-
first round?
Madam Chair,
Go ahead, Michelle, I mean.
through you to the speakers, can you mention the other project areas where you guys are going to be working? I know you said 8 and 5, and it was like 10 projects. Can you the remaining ones, please?
Yes, we applied for 10, but we only got the 2 that we just previously mentioned.
Oh, he's only got, okay.
Yes.
All right, thank you, that's all I have.
Anyone else in the first round?
Madam Chair.
Mr. Jarrett?
Through you to the speakers. You were just referencing the pipes or whatever underneath the ground. At what point does there become a coordinated effort to give consideration as to, what might need to be addressed if while it's, exposed?
Yes, if we get awarded the project, then yeah, we will make a communication over to the Water Service Center to see if there's any funding available for them to change their pipes also.
Okay, so that's going to be more of a reaction versus being. Do you know if how long it might take them to understand the condition or the age of those pipes, or is it?
That's a Water Service Center question.
Okay.
I don't know how those pipes are.
So at the point of even producing a response to a proposal, is there big picture thought about, who could be the coordinating departments? I mean, and I guess this as an example. So, your department, the streets and that, we're applying for a grant. We get this grant. We're gonna take the top layer off, potentially expose the pipes and that. Hey, water department, we got this going, can you start giving thought to how you might be able to leverage and even apply for some money if money would be needed so that we can do the two sort of in tandem? Is that consistently done?
Yeah, so the city engineer, Aziz Kandor, actually is paid through, is a employee of transportation and the water department, and he did do some preliminary engineering, but during the preliminary engineering phase would most of that happen.
Okay, so are we further along with that coordinated effort than I feel like I'm understanding we are?
Yeah, probably. I mean, I assume that the city engineer, Aziz, would have already contacted the water department upon submitting the applications. So this isn't going to be new information when we say that, hey, we got these projects done, or we got these projects awarded. We should be able to kind of follow up on that request and ensure that if those water pipes need to be done, that water main needs to be done, we can ensure that that is a cut-once initiative.
Okay. And the hope is that if we don't have the money already, there was a coordinated effort by way of another request from Public Works that can work in tandem in partnership with this already and not have to now submit something and hope it gets done in time enough to where we can take advantage of the efforts that you've already put forth. So thank you.
All right, anyone else in the first round? Hearing no one else, anyone in the second round? Seeing there's
Madam Chair.
Go ahead, Ms. Mashat.
I do want to, 'cause, as we were talking, just kind of clarify some things. This is currently the 8th and the 5th ward, correct? And then even as we begin making these changes, we're expected to have this done at some point next year, correct? Like the longer roads to be completed within the next year, if not, well, within the next 2 years? So the project will start in the 8th, the 8th and 5th wards? Go ahead.
Oh, the programming for this, these applications are proposals for starting in year 2028.
Got it.
And if approved, that would be the earliest start.
Got
They
it.
could also be programmed in 2029.
Perfect, thank you. I wanted to make sure that that timeline was clear on what's happening. So right now, as the proposal stands, it's the 8th and 5th ward. But by the time we get to those projects, it'll be the 3rd and the 9th ward. So either way, the way that we all vote today, we are helping the 3rd and 9th ward residents, and we're moving along the 3rd and 9th ward as we do these projects, correct, if I'm understanding you? So the vote that we do today, the 8th and the 5th ward has a chance to help the 3rd and the 9th ward in the next couple of years. But what it sounds like is we all have a chance to help residents in the city of Flint. Thank you. Safer roads. I mean, because we talk about all the time about how, you know, there are potholes, roads are dangerous, people's cars are being messed up, and we're in some tough economic times right now to where people can't necessarily pay for the repairs, and sometimes they might bring those complaints to the city, and there's just not enough burden of proof there to where those repairs can be taken care of by the city. And so I just wanted to make sure that we're clear that this is our opportunity as a body to vote for major road repairs in 2 of the wards and then minor road repairs in some of the other parts of the city. So I look forward to voting with my colleagues to make sure that we're taking care of roads in the city. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
All right, thank you. So seeing if there's no one else in the second round, we'll go ahead and call for the vote for resolution 240458. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Ms. Lewis?
Yes.
Ms. Priestley?
Yes.
Ms. Winfrey Carter is not in. Ms. Burns?
Yes.
Ms. Mashat?
Yes.
Mr. Pfeiffer is not in. Mr. Jarrett? Yes. Mr. Alamin?
Yes.
The vote is 6 yes, 0 no.
The vote is 6 yes, 0 no, so that resolution passes. Next, we're on to resolution 240504.
Madam Chair.
Go ahead, Ms. Priestley.
Make a motion to approve 240504.
Support.
All right, motion to approve by the councilwoman in the 4th ward, supported by the councilman in the 1st ward. Any discussion?
Madam Chair,
Go ahead, Ms. Burns.
who in the administration would go over, because these are, I believe, new terms for this lease. This is the lease for Clio Road that comes out of the police forfeiture fund. And do we have anyone?
Can you talk into the mic a little bit more? I don't know if they can hear you.
No, but I can't hear you.
I don't think they can hear you.
You're not being.
Do we have anyone here from the admin? I don't think we have anyone.
There we go. Somebody coming now. They couldn't hear you.
Okay, so,
Mr. Moore.
excuse me,
Through
so
you to Mr. Moore, Madam Chair.
okay, thank you. So, Mr. Moore, please make your way to the lectern.
Mr. Moore, the terms of this contract, it comes from, and how are you today?
Pardon?
How are you today?
Very good, thank you.
Good. So the terms of this has changed from what it was before. Can you tell me the difference in the changes for this lease? You can't?
I can't, I'm not that close to it. I have reviewed it, but in terms of how compared to the last contract, I really don't know.
Okay, so we don't have anybody here who can answer any questions about this lease, which was formerly $9,000 per month. It comes out of the police forfeiture fund. The police forfeiture fund has approximately $900,000 in it at this point, and we do not have any patrol officers who are listed there. They've actually been removed from there to go back out on the road because we have a shortage for police officers. So it's really just a service center. So we really, to me, for myself, since we don't have anyone that's here, we're really faced with how do we, is police more important? Because our police have the lowest pay in the county. Do we take that $900,000 and give them a bonus because we're losing them at a very rapid rate? Or do we keep this center open? And we have no one here today who can respond to a lease at $9,000 a month. That did not include the 3 employees with their pay and salaries. It did not include utilities for that building. It did not. So, and no one is here to answer that today. Okay, well, thank you, Mr. Moore. I'm done, Madam Chair.
Anyone else in the first round?
Madam Chair.
Go ahead, Mr. Alamin.
You know, definitely the center is exceptional for our seniors, and we have a lot of disabled folks in that area that's access to paying their bills, water bills, roofing information, things like that. So I think it's very important that we really consider supporting this and seeing that the effect that it's having on our community, not just in the first ward, but the second ward or in the boundaries of that, but the whole north side. So this center is very exceptional for many individuals, including myself, and I think it to leave it unsettled and have a blighted building, another blighted building that we have to deal with, wouldn't be a good use as well. So I'm definitely in support of this resolution. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, anyone else in the first round?
We're in the first round, Madam Chair.
We are.
I would like the floor, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Can we have maybe Seamus come up?
Who?
Seamus.
Okay, yeah. Mr. Bannon, could you please make your way up to the lectern?
Thank you. And as you're making your way here, I know that we had some numbers that were already given to the council once before. I know Amanda came and she gave some figures on this as well. We know that this, I believe we're at $1 million in revenue for this, if I'm correct.
Correct. Yeah. This past year we're at just surpassed $1 million in revenue for the service center. By the way, I'm Seamus Bannon, Chief Strategy Officer for the City of Flint.
Okay, and do you all have any projections for, and this wasn't even open the full year, so are there any projections for what we're looking at into the next year?
Sure. I believe you all got projections in your inboxes from a financial consultant who helped us project what was going to come in over the next 5 years, and we're looking around the same figures, if not more. And if they were to do that again based on what we currently have, those projections will probably be increased. So we're looking around another $1 million a year over the next 5 years.
Mm-hmm. And so, just so we're clear, again, how much does it cost to operate the center?
Whatever the lease is, was it $9,000 a month? Yeah.
Okay.
That's what we're doing for the center.
And so we're looking at something that is becoming self-sustaining.
That's the idea. That's the idea. We want to increase programming there. We already have letters of support from people that work with the seniors saying how it's a convenient for them. They don't have to park on the street. They can get through the drive-through to pay their bills. Parents who have kids, with the kids in the car, I know how that feels, trying to get out of the car to get people in and out of buildings. My kids, they don't have to do that anymore. They can go through the drive-through and pay their bills.
And you stated that we have letters of recommendation already. Can you refresh my memory from a couple of the places that did send letters of recommendation?
Yeah, just bear with me 1 second.
No problem.
Thank you. So I know the AAA sent a letter of hoping that it would stay open, and I believe you all should have got a copy of that one.
Yes.
I know there's one more entity, but I'm not sure right now who that is.
And we know that the VAAA works with our seniors.
Correct.
And one of the things we know for a fact is that we care about our seniors here in the city of Flint. And so we want to make sure that they do have opportunities to have services, especially on the north end, where there's been a historical level of disinvestment, whether purposely or accidentally. So we do want to make sure that we are not contributing to the disinvestment on the north end, especially when we have a building that is becoming self-sustaining and it is pulling in revenue, giving us an opportunity to capture dollars that we might not have been able to capture. I know that it was already stated, but it cannot be overstated that now that it's getting colder, it's getting darker earlier, there is, it's a comfort level for seniors to be able to just pull up and drive through and drop it off, for their family members to be able to pull up, drive through, and pay for the services that the senior may be using. In addition, like you said, having to figure out how to wrangle kids. You have downtown having to figure out parking, and then not only that, but again, it's just a convenience because you have a lot of people who may not have access to the bus line for whatever the reason, or those who do have access to the bus line might not have access to money for the bus line. And so it has to become, am I going to pay my bill or am I going to catch a bus to pay a bill, right? And so what they end up doing is going to convenience stores or going to some of the big box stores and attempting to pay their bills, and they're incurring fees when the city of Flint has a mechanism in place that has made it simple for them to be able to pay their bill without a fee associated, as well as not having the inconvenience of having to get out of a car and travel some odd feet to go pay the bill. And so I just want to make sure that for the residents on the north end, and I know that there are residents on the south end who have been using this service as well. And so just for whoever wants to use it in the city of Flint, but more so making sure that that investment is happening on the north end, making it more convenient for them to be able to pay whatever utility they need to pay and not having to go somewhere and incur a service fee. I do think that this is an effort we should continue supporting, especially since it is bringing in the revenue and it is becoming self-sustaining. So thank you very much, Madam Chair.
All right, thank you.
There is someone who is yelling out in that back corner. Officer, could you please ask them to stop yelling out? Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, really quickly. There is a young lady back there with a black hat and a mask. I'm calling her to order. She is yelling out even after being asked to stop yelling out. Yeah, so I'm calling her to order.
Is that the one holding the sign or one next to them?
No. Not the one holding the sign. She's sitting next to the young lady in the pink.
Okay, well, yes, well, thank you, and that will be your first warning. So, thank you, and that's your time, Ms. Mashat. Go ahead, Mr. Jarrett.
Through you to the speaker. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
So what bills exactly can be paid at the center?
So anything that you can do here, you can pay over there at the city hall here. You can pay your water bills, etc., over at the service center because we have clerks there right now, and it's in a drive-through fashion, so they don't have to get out of the car, they don't have to navigate through snow or whatever that's potentially here outside on City Hall. They can pay it there.
And
can I just, sorry for interrupting, can I just preface? Unfortunately, Amanda Trujillo, who would speak to this, has a family emergency, so she's not here tonight, so I'm stepping in for her.
That's fine.
Okay.
To your, and the center opened this year, right?
Correct, yeah.
Now, prior to this year, outside of coming to City Hall, for the many years that City Hall has been here, what other forms of payment were available outside of a convenience store?
Outside of a convenience store?
Yeah, we've referenced going to a store to pay an extra fee. What other forms of payment are available?
Sure, we have an online payment opportunities for people, yes.
Okay.
It doesn't cover all our payment options, though.
Okay. which is missing that it would not afford?
Sorry.
Well, I tell you what, if you don't know, I understand you're on the
Thank you.
spot.
Thank you.
Thank you. So tell me this, revenue, how is that defined here?
Just the bill payments that are coming in. The payments that have been serviced at the center.
So is that receipts?
That's taking over $1 million, correct, yeah.
So that's the total
The bill payments,
receipts?
correct.
Okay. What is the profit?
I can't answer that.
Okay. Because there's a difference between revenue and profit.
Right.
So when we're talking about something being self-sustaining.
Right.
Again, and I've used this analogy before, that center is almost the equivalent of a mailbox. You can go there and drop mail there, or you can go to the main post office to drop mail. It is not a revenue generating center by way of profit. I can understand and appreciate the fact that we now have another mailbox, but how that is generating profit. When Ms. Amanda was here last time, she said there was a slight uptick. Do you know now what that uptick is?
I would wish she was here to answer that, but to your point with the mailboxes, then you're almost saying there'd be no need for city clerks. You know, there'd be no need for clerks.
Mr. Jared, please hold.
There'd be no need for clerks.
Seamus, please hold for a second. RL, I'm bringing you to order. One more outburst, that's your warning.
So where they go to pay, we don't want to replace people with mailboxes. We're creating jobs.
That is not that mailbox there in the center here. See, that was something that was added 9 months ago, 10 months ago.
Right.
Now, if we want to use by way of a service center on the north side of Flint that has been truly valued for years, we really don't want to make the comparison there to say Hasselbring. Right?
I'm not here to speak on Hasselbring, sir.
We don't want to talk about services that have been in place less than a year versus those that have been in place for years and services being taken away.
If they're not given an opportunity.
Especially when one certainly is self-sustaining versus the other that is not truly self-sustaining, but it is a place where you can go and drop the payment. So I think thank you. I'm done.
Oh, okay. Anyone else anyone else in the first round?
Madam Chair.
Okay, go ahead, Judy.
Yes, I've been there, and the people, and spoke to people using this service center. I keep saying I wish I had one on my side of town, but we don't. And so the people who use this service center are very appreciative. It's cheaper for them to use that than to go to a convenience store and pay their bill. A lot of people don't pay by mail because, number one, they're using money orders or cash. They don't have a checking account. So they can't pay by mail. They may not have a debit card, or maybe all they have is a bridge card, and they can't pay their utility bill with that money. So by being able to go to the service center and fill the bills, it's a service we're providing for the residents. It has increased our collections. It is not a profit-making center. Nothing the city does is a profit-making thing. Nothing. So I am going to vote for this because I've seen and spoken to residents who use it. And there was one night when I thought, I've got to go that way. I'll just go over there and pay my bill on my way. I didn't, but I thought about it because it was late. But it is a convenience, and that's what we need to do. We're serving our residents, and this is a service that the residents on the north side town really appreciate. And I know that other residents are using it besides the north side. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in the first round? All right, seeing there no one else in the first round, I will take my time. So when I want to go ahead and give the floor to you, Mr. Bannon, so you can continue your statement.
Sure, thank you. I just want to reemphasize what's already been said. The administration sees this as definitely as a convenience factor for our residents. We want to highlight, especially coming into the cold weather and going into the spring where people have the opportunity to drive through and pay their bills, especially the parents. We're not just thinking about seniors, which is very important, but we're also thinking about parents of young kids who are transporting. They have an opportunity midweek and also on Saturdays. That's another thing that's missing here. We have a Saturday option for people to pay who may work 9 to 5, don't have the opportunity. We want people every opportunity to avail of the services to pay what they need. We also have a public health navigator get stationed there, create meetings to help them with housing application forms. Anything that they may need would be there, and an opportunity to do that. And we're looking to increase the scope of the work that we offer there. We're looking at it as reducing congestion, as people don't have to come down to City Hall. They go there, they don't have to travel, look at the bus routes. Looking at job creation, it has created jobs because we do have clerks up there working, and we do not want to replace them with mailboxes. We feel that they're super important for us, and we'd like to see them as continuing that job. We're addressing health disparities by having a public health navigator up there, because we're reducing health inequities and providing an opportunity to vulnerable populations to receive services that they're not as accessible to them if they're here, permanently here. I have a bunch of other points, but I'll pass it back to the councilperson.
Proceed.
Okay, and looking at sustainability-wise, it's hard to judge something just on 9 months. We talked about something over years. Yes, it does take time. Get years. This is an opportunity to do that. Given an opportunity to show it. I think $1 million in a year, it shows you that we're increasing the foot flow up there from the very first week that we had it. We've got more traffic, more people going up there, and the more people that hear about it, proof is in the likes of VAAA sending in support, saying they want to see it remain open. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So I just want to highlight a few things that I heard. The first thing is just the reference to the service center being a mailbox. One thing about the service center is that the service center is secure. The service center is secure. So when you know that you're going to the service center, you know that that payment is about to hit your account. It's not going to be intercepted by a middleman. So our payment center is secure, whether you choose to park in the free parking lot or either you choose to conveniently go through the 3 lanes of drive-through. Your payment is secure. Furthermore, it is eliminating blight on the north side. If we didn't have this payment center here, we would have another blighted structure on the north side. And I know that the councilman in the first ward, as well as myself, as well as our deceased council member and our future council member, they will tell you that on the north side, we can't stand to have any more blighted buildings. That's not negotiable. So the fact that the city was able to come up with an idea to save property, to improve the aesthetics, while servicing the residents, this is a win-win situation. You know, we have different events there. We have estate planning workshops. We have resource fairs where they were giving out Narcan and gun safety locks. We also have town hall meetings there. That's important. That is a place where residents will go and be informed. I know, Mr. Jared, you meet at is it the small mall where they have the South Side Coalition meeting, Mr. Jared? Okay, it's fine, but yeah, but that's where they meet there. But we need some place to meet on the north side. This place gives all of us that. This year they had Halloween festivities for the children on the north side, and we had hundreds of kids that came and participated. And also today they had State of Michigan sponsored unemployment insurance and claims fair, where the city of Flint residents can come to the north side to that mini station, to that payment center. So after you paid all of your bills in one convenient place, you're able to get information on employment insurance and help on filing the claim. This is a win-win situation for everyone, including the colleagues on the north side. So we are just pleading with the colleagues on this body to please keep the north side in mind. We say we care about the seniors, let's give them the convenience of going someplace that is convenient for them. So now we're moving on to the second round. Anyone else in the second round? Go ahead, Ms. Priestley.
I just want to let people know that I voted against this resolution the first time it came forward. When the initial lease came forward, I believe I voted against it. But after seeing the results, I changed my mind. When I say I'm not going to support something, I stick with it, unless I've been given a valid reason not to. I was going to vote against the St. John's Memorial Park, but I heard from the residents as we were sitting here. And I had said during the meeting that I was going to vote against it. But they showed me how much they valued that area. And so I changed my mind and I voted for it. So that is why I am voting for this North Service Center. Otherwise, I would be voting against it because I hate seeing the money, but it's a valued resource by the residents who use it. Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right. Anyone else? Go ahead, Mr. Jarrett.
Through you to the speaker at the lectern. When was this lease originally negotiated? The original lease?
Back before the beginning of this year, for the first time, yeah, last year. I can't give you a specific date.
Do you know why it was only for 1 year? If this was going to be such a wonderful, why only a 1 year lease initially?
I can't answer that.
Request for information.
What is your request?
Does the speaker know that this was a pilot program? And so now we are moving outside of the pilot program.
Yeah.
Thank you. That was a valid request.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's just been informed that it was a pilot program that we could show proof that it's worth having, and I believe we've shown that one this year. So initially, in a pilot program, you don't want to go 5-10 years, right? So you go that first year to show you that we did invest and we got $1 million. So we believed it would.
Did we get $1 million more dollars, or the same million we would have gotten if it wasn't there?
Right, but to that point, we need.
That's all. If again, slight uptick. Was it $1 million uptick, or what? Because we keep saying revenue, $1 million, revenue, $1 million. But the fact of the matter is, that's how much of that $1 million would we have received if that wasn't there. That's what I need to know. If it wasn't there, how much of that $1 million would we have received?
I guess I keep saying, okay, Amanda can speak to the specific dollar amounts.
That's
the specific. Dollar amounts.
I apologize if this is, but that's a question I have. How much would we have received? Because $1 million in revenue sounds like wonderful, but if it's not $1 million more dollars than we would have received otherwise. If it's the same $1 million we would have got with our left hand and our right, it's still just $1 million. And if it cost us $300,000 to collect the same $1 million we would have gotten if it wasn't there, that's what I have a problem with.
But we're also giving more accessibility to people that may not have the accessibility here, the vulnerable populations that don't have accessibility.
I get that also, and I can appreciate that. But if we're going to say we're providing convenience in this and that, then let's not do what we're trying to do on the other part of the north side of the city of Flint with the seniors. That's double talk to me right now. It's double talk to say we want this payment center, but we're going to close Hasselbreen. That's double talk to me.
I'm not speaking to that, sir. I'm not speaking to that.
Thank you. I'm done.
That's got nothing.
All right. So now we are still in the second round. Anyone else would like to speak in the second round?
Madam Chair.
Let's see. I think I heard that. Did I hear? Go ahead, Ms. Burns.
I'll yield to the first ward.
Go ahead, Ms. Burns.
He was actually first.
No, go ahead.
So here's Seamus. I cannot get into my computer to compare the prior, but these contracts are different. They're not the same. And then this one gives an option, and you said Amanda had a family emergency that she cannot explain that. Again, do we have someone here who can explain? Because these are not the same. They're not the same. And we don't have anyone here today who can explain these. Now, I will be the first to say I appreciate our seniors, and our seniors are important, and they are. And as of January 5th, Hasselbrink will be evicted. The city stated they will, and that's in the first ward. And so I don't know what's going to become of that, but we're concerned about the seniors so much. My other concern is this comes out of the police forfeiture fund. What I would like to see is we do not have anyone posted there. There's no police officer. That officer was put back on patrol because we don't have enough officers on the street. And that is a serious issue when we're removing that. We did have a child who was shot and killed, unfortunately, in her home right across the street from that building, and that officer was removed. This should have come out of a different budget, not the police fund for me. It should have come out of a different fund and not this police fund. I would like to see this money give our police who are underpaid and overworked, to give them a bonus. This is out of their fund. How do we continue to drive up our police fund? Pay them properly. They're underpaid severely, not slightly, but severely. And we're taking their fund to fund a water payment center. I think, and like I said, these contracts are different. I'm going to always say number one, and we don't have anybody here, you want us to pass this today, and there's no one here to explain it. That makes no sense. Hold on, let me give Seamus. And at this point, I can't approve this. I would like to see this go to our police, because I've looked at their wages. They are at the very bottom. The very bottom. I don't know if they can figure out some other way to do this, but I'm not going to take this out of the police forfeiture fund. This would encourage them to, hey, let's get more people, more drugs off the street. And as a matter of fact, we have a fentanyl problem. We have some serious drug problems, and I'm not willing to take this money for this, and there's no officer that's there. You got my last 10 seconds.
My understanding is there's a police officer is assigned
This
there.
not.
Okay.
They were removed to be put back on the road.
Respectfully,
Yeah.
we have come to every meeting to talk on this when it's been on the agenda. Staff has been here, Amanda's been here many a time to speak on it.
Seamus. So, Mr. Alamin?
Madam Chair.
Go ahead.
So I just want to emphasize again that we'll be, if we support this, we'll be avoiding future blight, supporting economic growth, and also giving not only a lifeline to our seniors and our vulnerable population, but all residents who frequently travel in that area. And this being also, as been mentioned, as the speaker has said, and then one of my colleagues, this was a pilot, and we already reached 1 million, and it hasn't been a full year. That's showing potential room for growth. But it is something I do want to clear up. I heard my colleague in the 9th Ward say that the Hasselbreen was closing. That's very misleading because Hasselbreen is not closing on January 5th or any other day. So Hasselbreen will be open, and it may be under new management, but it's not closing. So I want to put that out there so that people don't think that Hasselbreen is closing, since we're worried about what's going on in the 1st ward instead of our own ward. Thank you.
All right. Anyone else in the second round?
Madam Chair.
Go ahead, Ms. Mashat.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that we're being clear here because Mr. Bannon did say something that was very accurate in the fact that this is not the first time we've discussed this, and Amanda has been up here a couple of times as well as other city staff to answer these exact questions, and we've gotten the answers to these questions before. I think that we need to be clear on that as opposed to making it look like someone came up here. This is the first time we've ever discussed it. We've never had these answers when we've been given this, that we've not had the letters of support that we've already been given, that we have not been told once before, that it has already earned $1 million worth of revenue, and that it is projected to do that same $1 million next year. These are all repeated statements, things that can be viewed through the City of Flint YouTube recording because we've already had this conversation. I do want to talk about, though, something that is very important. And I said this earlier about the disinvestment on the north side. We're talking about taking away a service center that if people were just going to their mail boxes, then they wouldn't incur service fees. Clearly, they are bypassing their mailboxes and going to convenience stores or big box stores and incurring fees. This is a way for them to not incur said fees. Obviously, this is collecting revenue, and we can't speak to how much, but to revenue that we have been missing out on simply because there was not the convenience of people being able to do this. I heard another colleague discuss the fact that this is taking away blight on the north end, something that we can all agree is very blighted. We're talking about the overdoses that we're seeing and experiencing. The health navigator is located right there inside that building to help families that are dealing with addiction, to help families and get them to the right services that they need to deal with said addiction. So not only do you have a payment center that is helping people that are normally bypassing their mailboxes on their front doors and every other mailbox that they come in contact with and incurring fees. They're not incurring fees. We're giving out great information. There's an opportunity for people to interact with health navigators, which can help families with addiction. Additionally, there are all kind of other services that are being offered and other programs that historically the north side would have to travel or go somewhere else or come downtown or somewhere south to get access to that. And so what we're talking about here is a valuable mailbox, I guess, to the community. This is one really valuable mailbox, except for the difference between a regular mailbox and this actual center is that people get to talk to people who can help them sort out their bill if they have a question. They get to talk to someone who can point them in the direction of a service they may not need. Everyone does not have access to technology. It's easy to tell people to go online when you can go online, but when they cannot, then what are they supposed to do? So if we're saying we care about the city, let's care about the city and get outside of whose good idea it was and know that this is a good idea. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. All right, anyone else? All right, seeing there's no one else, Mr. Bannon, would you Have anything else you'd like to add?
Yeah, I just, again, want to highlight the importance of this centre, and that, just again, staff, we have worked diligently to get your questions answered, and we have been here time and time again speaking on this. Sometimes we're here, the agenda item comes up, and there's no quorum, we don't get to talk of it. It's just unfortunate that there was a family emergency tonight when you were looking for those specific dollar amounts. I'm sure she will produce those. Amanda's excellent at getting that information across. We talked about the vulnerable seniors. I'm not here to talk about any other agenda item, but for the service centre, we also talked about the other populations that are vulnerable. It's not just our seniors who are a vulnerable population. There's others that utilise that service centre that this would be a good opportunity for to keep open. Thank you.
Thank you. In closing, I'm just highlighting what my other colleague said. This is a win for the North Side. And I know that we had a number of residents reach out to every single one of us to ask us and plead with us, please keep it open. And I know several residents that reached out to Mr. Jarrett personally asking to please keep this center open. I know I hear them. It is important for us to keep this center open. This center is becoming the beacon. It is a standout on the North Side. It is a place where people can go for resources and for information. That is what this place is. It's been here less than a year, and it has done so many great things. It has given so many people estate planning tips again, helping them with their unemployment insurance claim, town halls, research fairs. These things are invaluable. These were the items that people were saying were lacking on the North Side. Now that we have brought them to the North Side, now it's a resolution, and we have the power to keep this on the North Side. We must think holistically when we think about the city. When I'm sitting here in the second ward seat, I'm not just thinking second ward only. I want to make sure that wards 1 through 9 succeed. And I hope and pray that the rest of my colleagues will feel the same way. I understand that when I ask my colleagues a question they refuse to answer, that's fine. But hopefully they answer the call of the people that are asking and pleading with you. Ms. Shirley sent the text saying, please keep this center open. I can't walk down the long pathway to City Hall and park when it's icy in the winter. Ms. Jeanette said, please keep that over here. It's a pillar on the North Side. Ms. Ida said, we've never had anything like that before on this side of town. Please do not remove the service center. We're asking you, please, Mr. Jarrett, Ms. Burns, please, let's not remove this needed service center. So, it's time for the vote. We're voting for a Resolution 240504. This is to approve the lease extension. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Ms. Priestley?
Yes.
Ms. Winfrey Carter is not in. Ms. Burns?
No.
Ms.
Yes.
Mr. Pfeiffer is absent. Mr. Jarrett? Mr. Alamin?
Yes.
Ms. Lewis?
Yes.
The vote is 4 yes, 2 no.
The vote is 4 yes, 2 no, so that resolution fails. So now we move on to Resolution 240480. Go ahead, Ms. Priestley?
80.
All right, any support? Supported by the councilwoman in the 7th Ward. Any discussion?
Madam Chair,
Go ahead, Ms. Burns.
through you to Mark Quimby with Ashley Capital.
Hello.
Hello. So we are now at this point. Tell us what this is.
Sure. This is the resolution to approve the sale of the portion of Oak Park so that we can basically move forward with the project that involves us preserving the acre of Oak Park and investing in it. We'll need this vote to authorize us to basically get the deed on the split, and then once we have authorization, we'll file a parcel split, and then we'll be able to buy that piece, and that will allow us to proceed with this project for Building 2.
So I kept my word, as I told you, that once I got the legal opinion, I would make sure that I would be here to take care of this. You and I have had some very good conversations, and I appreciate the transparency. One of the issues was with Oak Park was it sits on 8 acres, and that the nanograph building will be a much larger building than your first building, and this is 2 of 10. And with this building, you have the issue of Oak Park Friends, and so there has been a mutual agreement. They're not here today. I know they had they were they had some issues. I know they had some health issues. So the park will be renamed. Well, it'll keep the name Oak Park. Ashley Capital for 10 years will maintain, 20 years maintain the park. For 10 years for the Friends of Oak Park, they will create a proper nonprofit so that their 1-year annual event will be funded. And this was all approved. And this was over a year ago when they started coming here and letting the public know what was going on with Oak Park, that was the issue, that they wanted to save it. There will also be two pavilions. There will also be 4 barbecue grills, a walkway. It will be a memorial. You'll have benches along the way. And this will cost approximately how much?
Our estimates are between about $150,000 and $200,000.
Okay, and so the Oak Park, Friends of Oak Park, they're not here right now, but they are in agreement, is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. And I'd add that of all the things, like we're excited about the nanograph deal, but winning their support and hearing John McFadden and the rest of the group tell us how excited they are to see this park reactivated and kind of honored in this way it's really exciting to us, and we're happy to be part of it.
So for 20 years, you will maintain this park, which was really out of our hands and the public did not know. So there took some investigating and digging into, which I did. You and I are now mutual friends, acquaintances. And so it was decommissioned in 1984, and it was taken to a vote of the people. There was Nothing we could do to change that. That vote is valid. It was certified by the clerk back in '84 and by the state of Michigan. The vote was. The people chose to decommission it. So we will have it'll be a new city park again, technically.
Yeah, it's sort of unclear to me what it's like, because it's still zoned as a park, but there's
Right.
not really anything really happening there except for that annual picnic. But our intent is the piece that remains will still be zoned as a park, and as far as we're concerned, it's gonna be called Oak Park, and the city's gonna bill it, advertise it as such.
And so you'll have a new sign that will state,
Oak Park.
and I got to give you the old sign back that my dad had bought.
Right, that's
When it was decommissioned.
that was exciting when you told me about it.
Yeah.
Our intent is to refurbish that sign and reinstall the old historic Oak Park sign at the park.
Yeah, so I think that as we move progress for Flint, because a lot of it happened, people want transparency, and it didn't come to us as being transparent. And that is one of the things, people in Flint have a trust issue, rightfully so. We drank water for 18 months and it was brown. They said, oh, nothing's wrong. So when business comes, we need to be transparent. And you and I have had some great conversations. This is building 2 of 10. You're going to be here in Flint for about another, 10 to 12 years.
Yes, well, to remind you, that's just to build out the development,
Right.
but our intent is to basically hold the property in perpetuity as the owner and landlord, as we do with all of our other, millions of square feet in Michigan.
Which are commerce centers.
Yeah.
Okay, so my time is almost up. I just wanted to share because my position, I stayed, you and I worked it out, and you worked it out with Oak Park. And I think it was a mutual agreement for everyone. Friends of Oak Park are satisfied, and I think the community, we have to move forward for economic development. Thank you.
All right, anyone else in the first round? All right, anyone in the second round? Oh, okay, well, no one else in the second round. I'll go ahead and be the last to speak and take my time. So, Mr. Quimby, we have been waiting on this since October, right?
That's correct.
All right, and it's now December the 9th. And I would like to apologize on behalf of this body because I understand that you don't live in the city, for continuing to come here, and you're just bringing innovation. You're bringing new economic growth and development to this city. However, you've come back so many times. And so I appreciate your diligence, and I appreciate the fact that Ashley Capital chose Flint, that Nanograph, that they're deciding to choose Flint to move forward, to do great things. So thank you for your time, your energy, and your patience, and also for your will to stay the course. I totally stand behind this effort because, again, that part of the community on the north side, as we continue to speak about, it's a black hole. You guys are bringing light to the darkness. So thank you so much, and thank you for working with other investors that are interested in helping to move forward with Flint. All right, so with that being said, we want to call for the vote for Resolution 240480. That is the sale of the decommissioned city-owned land, Flint Commerce Center. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Ms. Winfrey Carter is absent. Ms. Burns?
Yes.
Ms. Michelle?
Yes.
Mr. Pfeiffer is absent. Mr. Jarrett?
Yes.
Mr. Alamin?
Yes.
Ms. Lewis?
Yes.
Ms. Priestley?
Absolutely, positively, yes.
The vote is 6 yes, 0 no.
All right, there was it 7 yes, 0 no? No, 6 yes, excuse me, 0 no. So that resolution passes. So the last resolution is 240510, with the pleasure of the body.
Madam Chair,
Go ahead.
make a motion to approve 240510.
All right, any support? Supported by the councilman in the first ward. Any discussion?
Madam Chair,
Go ahead, Ms. Burns.
for you to, probably the deputy and the, the CFO for our debt elimination plan. And as you're walking, can you describe and tell us what this is and what it includes?
Go ahead.
What is the debt elimination plan? What,
The CARES Act is a represents two grants that we received from HUD, and it's a reimbursement grant, which means that we spend the money and then they reimburse us for our expenditures after the fact, which means that every year we're going to have, or every time we spend something, it's going to have a deficit until we apply for the reimbursement. And in this particular case, we had a $66,000 deficit at year end. We have since applied for money, and it was paid. We spent more money. We're back in deficit again, and this will continue until the debt, until we completely use the grant, in which case we'll be reimbursed and the fund will go to zero at that point. It's just the nature of this particular grant program. We're always going to have a deficit in there until the very, very end.
and I can't pull my laptop isn't cooperating yet again, so I have actually separated my agenda, and I can't find the actual, because it's about that thick.
Well, I can tell you that the basics, the grants that we received, there were two grants, and the total of the two was about $4.9 million. And we've spent...
So is that the total you said for both?
For both of them. And we have spent roughly half of them at this point.
Okay. All right, I want to find my,
the way that this works is that if we have a deficit in anything, we have to have a deficit elimination plan filed for the state of Michigan. And basically our plan is that we will seek reimbursement, and that will pay for, will cover the deficit at the end. And, we won't have a deficit when the last day of the grant period, because we will have been 100% reimbursed.
okay, I'm going to yield to my colleagues while I try to find, because I can't pull it up.
All right, anyone else in the first round? Go ahead, Mr. Jarrett.
Through you to the speaker. How long is the, how many years is this particular grant? Do you?
It's been going through 3 years at this point, and I believe we have about another, I'm not sure whether it's 2 years or 3 years after this.
Okay, yeah, that's what I'm trying, I'm seeing where, as you stated, it was a $4.9 million grant, and we've expended about 2.7
At this point,
or so.
we're about 2.7.
Yeah, so I just wanted to know if, so are we on track for the spending part?
We believe we're going to spend 100% of the grant.
Okay, and what type of services does this grant provide?
It's very similar to the Community Development Block Grant. From what I understand, I'm not a grant expert for this. Basically, anything that is eligible on the, most things that are eligible under the Community Development Block Grant would be eligible under these grant programs.
Okay, and this is for year 2023?
Right.
Okay, and are we on pace with reporting, or are we only responding now in November of 2024 because we got a letter from the state?
We get a letter from the way the process works is the state sends us a letter, and then we have to respond to that letter.
Okay, so is it common practice to wait till we get the letter, or not?
I believe most cities do. I'm not aware of any cities that don't, but I'm sure